Now this is a hunt I filmed last year, 2016, and you'll notice the timeline's a little mixed up in it because it was filmed over 2 days. The first day I arrived, as you can see here, and I got myself set up. It's a farmyard with 2 to 3 cattle sheds on it, and the cattle are fed silage, which has a mixture of meal put into it, as well as other sweet delectables that the crows, magpies and jackdaws like to come down and feed on. So I come down every now and again and see if I can get one or two. And even though it was a breezy day, I managed to get my first jackdaw, after I managed to switch the safety catch off, of course. So I set the jackdaw up on a little wire cradle I had in the van, which is parked just around the back outside of the building, and hopefully used it as a decoy. And the decoy seems to be working, because before long I got another opportunity. Now, as I went forward to pick up the bird I just shot, I could hear the farmer's tractor coming in. He had arrived to do a bit of work around the cattle sheds, so my intention was to come back later on after he had finished his work and I had got a bite to eat, but I didn't manage to get back that day and decided to come back the next day. Hence the silage is all nicely tidied up and so forth. I used the same jackdaw and cradle set up I had used the day before, and as you can see, the birds were interested in it, but they seemed somewhat hostile and hesitant towards their presence. But I did manage to get an opportunity or two at birds on the roof. That's when I could hit them, of course. Now, I usually don't like shooting the birds on the roof in case they get stuck up there, but I found that if they're right at the edge of the roof and I take them with a heart and lung shot, they usually roll forward and fall off the roof. I say usually, you do get the odd one that gets stuck up there, but thankfully that bird fell off the edge of the roof out of camera shot, and I was able to walk forward and set it up in my decoy pattern with the rest of the birds. You might complain about the smell, but a cattle shed's a nice place to be in a wet morning like that. The rest of the birds seemed interested in the decoys, but again they were treating them with a bit of hostility, but patience soon pays off. And a magpie lands on top of one of the bars of the pen. And I drop him with another heart shot. I go forward and pick him up because the cattle's got a habit of licking round them. And I set it up on another spare decoy cradle I had in the van. Even though the jackdaws seemed somewhat hostile towards the decoy birds, you occasionally got one that landed on the edge of the roof, like this bird here, this time on the right hand side of the roof. But you have to hit them, of course. And here we have a small group of birds that decoyed perfectly. Unfortunately, I just wasn't quick enough to get onto one of them. I'm not sure whether or not the slats on the right hand side of the building are narrower than the rest of them, but I seem to be having a problem hitting any birds on that side of the roof. This magpie tried to sneak his way in across the top of the trough. Once he dropped down into the silage, I had a safe backstop and took him with a chest shot. Since he came to rest with his wings folded face down, I didn't bother going out to lift him and just left him there as a decoy. I got another opportunity at a jackdaw on the right hand side of the roof. This time the pellet connected, and even though he barrel rolled off the roof, I went out to make sure he was dead and found him lying in the yard just out of camera shot. So decided to readjust my decoy pattern while I had the opportunity. Nothing wrong with that shot. It might be because I'm shooting more square onto the slats at this angle rather than the ones to my extreme right. This magpie seems quite agitated after that shot. I was just about to slip the trigger here when he decided to drop down onto the ground. I repositioned myself. What I did wrong I do not know, but the shot hit slightly high and just took a few feathers as it passed over him. I did, however, notice the jackdaw land in the shed just beside me. I managed to take him off the top of one of the trusses. Things went a little quiet for a while, so I went out and tidied up the decoy pattern, but it was to no avail as I had to lift everything out the road once the farmer came in to feed the cattle, so I set up with a much smaller decoy pattern once he had finished his work. Too slow.
Perfect timing.
He just flew off as I squeezed the shot off. A nice big rook. I'm glad I had a second camera recording here, as the 3-second delay on startup on the ATN Shot Trak just missed the actual shot in the recording. Well, I've been here for a good few hours and my stomach's telling me it needs fed, so I decided to gather the gear up and head next home. Bit of a mixed bag this time, even though it was over 2 days, and a bit of improvised decoying, but it seemed to work well for me.